if you don't put the address into the GPS, it's very unlikely that Apple's going to get you there, or Google, or Waze, or anything. You are very unlikely to hit it unless you know it down pat, how to get there. And then you wouldn't be using a GPS, you'd just be going by memory. But here's the deal. Can you go anywhere you've never been before if you don't know how to get there? So we'll get real philosophical. So if you've never ever been there, so if you've been down the street a million times, okay? So like, I know how to get to the office in Bel Air because A, I've been there many times, but B, I used to live a block away. So I know how to get there. I don't need to put it in my GPS. But if you said, hey, can you get to the integrity office? Because I'm gonna get me an integrity office. If you said, can you get to the integrity office? I'd be like, I have no idea how to get there. I need to put it in my GPS. I need to have a plan. So that's what goals are, right? So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump in and get going. So I do have some slides because, you know, there is some heart that we're going to speak, but I do think a lot of goal setting is more nuts and bolts. You know, we get a little more technical. There's an actual system that we want to kind of follow for something like this. So you guys see my screen without notes. It just says setting 224 goals, right? Just a pretty screen without like lots of other stuff. Good, thanks. Okay.
Yep.
So, so really how we're going to structure this is, you guys, if there have questions along the way, raise a hand or let me know, try to get to the end and then we can kind of dig in more if we need. But the goal is by the end of this, you are clear as day on three things, okay? Why goals are important, how you can go about setting the goals and how you want to structure that in your mind, and then a tactical system. So that's the more strategic side, and then a tactical system for accomplishing your yearly goals. Okay. Now, what I'm not going into is like how you can lose weight because I haven't figured that one out yet. But you can really use the same kind of structure. It's really for the strategic side of goals, for your goals, and then the tactical execution of those goals. Okay. So that's what we're gonna jump into. So the first thing, and it's probably the most important thing in goal setting, not only in setting the goal, but in accomplishing the goal. I'm going to give you a hint. It's a word that you've heard 922,000 times on these meetings. And what is that? It's a single word, begins with an M. Any ideas?
Mindset.
Thank you, Jesus. So mindset, everything is mindset. We're going to manifest with the mindset, but everything is mindset. Okay. Everything is mindset. So you have to be in a place of belief. Okay. So I don't know if you saw on the first side, it said seeing is believing / believing is seeing. Okay. And it's circular thinking, which is kind of crazy because, you know, something came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know which it is, but here's what I know. If you don't believe it, okay, if you don't believe it can happen, you'll never see it. If you don't believe you can see it, you'll never see it. But when you start seeing it, like a vision board, or seeing other people do it, or see a reality in front of you by hanging around people who are doing it, you see it work, then you start believing it can happen. So they're both true. Believing is seeing and seeing is believing, but you kind of do them together. So by creating a clear vision of what you want, you can see it in front of you. And as you start to see glimmers of it happening, you start believing that the bigger goals can happen. So that's how you create it in your mind's eye. You really have to see those goals, but how do you see it? How do you get there? Let's dig into that. So does anybody know what GPS stands for?
Global Positioning System.
Dang, Bill got some technical for us. Correct. 100%, but we're going to use a different definition. We are going to use guiding vision, pinpoint focus, and systematic habits. Okay. So that is our GPS for goal setting for this session. Okay. So having a guiding vision, pinpoint focus, and systematic habits. For those who ever see me kind of talk about anything, I'm obsessed with everything in 3. So 3 is an easy number to remember. So let's talk about guiding vision. So the more precise your destination and your GPS, okay, the more likelihood you're going to get there. So, I want an integrity partnership in my future, and I want to get to the integrity office where they're going to like, I don't know what the thing is. Michael, give me the secret handshake that he got when he got his deal. So whatever that is, I want to get there. So am I going to say, I don't know what state is integrity in, Mike or Frank or Jamie?
Texas.
Perfect. I love Texas. So do I put in my GPS Texas? Well, that's stupid because I'm really going to have a huge area that I'm going to have to figure out where it is. So you need to be very precise and clear with your GPS. So that guiding vision has to be very, very clear. My question is, when you got up this morning, were you clear on what you were going to do today? Were you clear on your plan of attack? Were you clear of where you were heading? Or were you just going through the motion? Okay, I got logged in. I got to get some things. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get on the phone. Are you clear on what you want for yourself? Not just for today, but what that ladders up to the bigger vision. Are you clear? Because if you don't know what the plan is, how will that plan work? If you don't know that the clear direction you're trying to go to that integrity office in Texas, you don't know that, how are you going to get there? That's a very literal translation, but clarity is important with this. If you don't know who you're calling, because you're like, oh, it's 8 o'clock, I gotta go in the dial room. What's the address of the dial room? What's the address? How many times do we have a meeting where people are like, what's the address to the dial room? I don't know. It's on the first page of the hub. Been there for, I don't know, since I've been here. That's where it is. So if you don't even know where you're supposed to go and you don't know who you're going to call, what leads are you calling? I got to get an ILC. Wait a minute, let me message. Is there a discount right now on leads? I got to get a discount. Let me pick this one, pick that one. Who are you calling? If you don't have that plan of attack, how are you going to get there? You have to be very clear on all of these pieces going into it. And the same things with vision. You have to be clear on what you want. So I'm going to get a little analytical on some numbers. Some people are numbers people. If you're not, just hang out for a second. But when it comes to numbers, when you actually write down your goals and you're clear with what you want to accomplish for yourself, your success rate goes up, you ready for this, by 42%. When you use SMART goals, someone said it earlier, that specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, you increase your chance by 25%. And when you have accountability and share with someone on a weekly basis how you're doing, basically a status update of how you're doing towards reaching your goal goes up and by achieving it by 33%. Now, I could not have done this if I planned it, but when you add the 42, 25, and 33 together, it comes out to 100%. So the way I interpret that is you have a 100% likelihood of reaching your goals if you do those three things. Now, of course, we know that's not 100% true if you set big goals, but you're going to have a much better likelihood of accomplishing those goals when you have a very clear goal for yourself that you want to accomplish. We're going to talk about tactic on doing that for a second, but hopefully I've impressed upon you the clarity of that goal is super important. It can't be do better, do great, succeed. It can't be this general goal. It has to be very, very clear. Does that make sense? You can do some head nodding if that makes sense. Okay, great. Okay, so we've got our guiding vision. We're very clear on where we want to go. We're going to talk about tactically how to do that. But let's say we've got a very clear goal. Now we want to have a pinpoint focus on accomplishing that goal. What happens is people get very distracted. It's easy to get distracted when you're not clear on where you're trying to go. It's easy to get, to sidestep. So we'll use our analogy of heading to the integrity office in Texas. It's super easy to spend 2 hours at Buc-ee's shopping around, spending all this time looking around when we don't have a clear focus and timeline. We got other stuff getting in our way. Okay. So you want to be very, very clear. It is human nature for us to look for the easier way. Okay. It's within our DNA. If you think about it, for thousands of years, we have been looking for the less dangerous route, right? Saber-toothed tiger, go fishing. What's easier? Die with the tiger or go catch some fish, right? Hunt, gather. We've been keeping ourselves out of harm's way. Head to the area where there's famine and people are dying, or go to where it's plentiful. Let's go to plentiful, even if we have to trek across the country. You know, we've been doing this forever. Your brain, its job is to keep you safe. Do you think you're going to pick the hard route or the easy route? You're programmed to pick the easy route. However, if you pick the easy route when it comes to doing something that you've never done before, you will never get to do it because you have been conditioned to do whatever you're at. So it's kind of like, is it Tracy's law, Tracy or Maxwell, which one? Law of the lid. Okay. You will only reach the level to which you've reached before unless you do something you've never done before. And so that's where you want to have a clear focus on what you're trying to accomplish, because there's going to be adversity that's going to come when you pick big enough goals. And you have to kill off your plan B, C, and D. There can only be one plan. You have to be very clear on what you're shooting for in the guiding vision, and then how you're going to accomplish it and how you're going to be focused. Because if you're not, you're going to end up going towards the plan B, the plan C, the plan D. Is your plan B ever harder than your plan A? Has anyone ever planned the fallback to be harder and less likely than plan A? That's just stupid, right? No one does that. So I want to be an actor, and my fallback is that I want to be an actor, and then my fallback is going to be that I'll be an accountant. Well, 1% of actors get paid, and in that 1%, there is probably 1% who people do really well. So you get 99% who are actors who make hardly any money. Or be an accountant, which I know I can get a job if I'm an accountant. The fallback is always the easier thing. So you got to kill that as an option and go full force and make a plan that you believe is going to be successful. So that's about having your very, very clear focus on that goal. And then the last part of being able to hit those goals, the big goals, guiding vision, pinpoint focus, is systematic habits. Okay. So you have to have a system for success. Now, the cool thing is at FFL, we have a pretty clear system. We talk about it almost every Monday night. People are talking about the system, how they work their system, but it really comes down to the same three things all the time. Like, we've heard it a million times, right? It's script, schedule, and leads. Like, all the time we hear that. But do people have the script down pat? Are people scheduled the same way that they are every week? They have a schedule built for their success. Do they have their leads coming in a regular flow? We now have the ability to automate our leads where they're coming in on a weekly basis or daily basis. You know, you can do it through FFL National Agency, where you're getting your lead type that's coming into your CRM. It's automated. It just comes in. Everything happens automatically. You're following up. Or you can go on ILC and have your leads coming in regularly. Or are you futzing around every day trying to figure it out? Okay. Are your systems, okay, is it a systematic way or approach, or automated? Is it habitual, or is it kind of fly by the seat of your pants? Okay. So this is hugely, hugely important. And a lot of times people think they do it once or twice and they've built a system or a habit. Okay. So does anybody know how long it takes to build a habit? The answer you're thinking of is probably wrong. Has everybody heard 21 days? Yeah. Hey, Dana, yeah. It's Devin. Who said 66, Danielle? Have you seen my notes on my page? Okay, I like it. It's 66 days. Yeah, Kylie said more than 21. I know that's right. So 66. So the new study says it takes 66 days. I don't know why it's 66, but that's what they say. So basically 2 months. 2 months to a little bit more than 2 months to build a successful habit. So you need to have a systematic approach and make it habitual. So a system for success, and do it all the time for at least 2 months to know if that's even going to work, if that's even going to work. Okay. So this is hugely important. A lot of people try something for, 4 times in an afternoon and then make a decision whether it worked or not. And they're like, that don't work. That don't work. That don't work. Yeah, because you did it for 30 seconds. Try it for 2 months and then talk to me. And don't change it up every minute. It's actually do the same thing over and over and over again in a system that already people before you have done the people who've reaching the goals that you want to reach. So if you want to get Hall of Fame, are you going to act like a person who's never hit Hall of Fame, or are you going to act like the people who hit Hall of Fame and do what they've done? And are you going to follow the system that they're on and follow the habits that they have? Okay. So the mother of mastery is repetition. If you miss a day or two, it's not the end of the world. If you miss a week or two, it's time to start over again. Okay. So we want to reinforce all the time. Okay. So we've got the idea. We need to have a very clear guiding vision. We need to have very clear focus. We can't be distracted with lots of ancillary stuff. And we need to build a system and make it a habit. Okay. So that's kind of from a strategic level. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to actually do that. So real quick recap on what's going to get us there. We're going to have some SMART goals. We're going to have some vision, clear vision. You can use a vision board, daily reinforcement. You're going to have an accountability partner screenshot if you want, and some goals to do that. So this is kind of the wrap up on what we're going to do to actually have these clear goals. We're going to make them smart. We're going to put up on a wall, vision board. These are all things you know. We're going to have daily reinforcements. We're going to have an accountability of that. Make sure we are talking to people about this, do the weekly submit numbers. So this is from a strategic level. Now let's jump in to how we're actually tactically going to do this. Okay. So you can use a method, however you choose. The method I like to use is 3x3x3. Okay. Has anybody ever heard of this or seen anything about this 3x3x3? Oh, something. Oh, darn, I was totally new. Okay, so Sherelle knows. Okay, so 3x3. So how I do this is I like to set 3 yearly goals. Okay, 3 big yearly goals. So let's talk about, we're going to go reflect to our first half of this. Let's talk about those big yearly goals. They should be something that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. Okay, so with being uncomfortable, one of the things that we see about goals is that they need to be, some people say realistic. Okay, so if we go back to what a SMART goal is, okay, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Notice in here, it does not say realistic. I hear people all the time say realistic is the R. It's actually relevant. It means it has to matter to you. Time-based, it can't be one day. Oh, my wife is, I don't know if you see it on my screen. My wife's mother fell and had to take her to the hospital this morning. Everything's fine. So if you see that pop up, I apologize. Never a dull day. Let's get it done. Okay, so but specific, we got that. Measurable, achievable. Achievable does not mean realistic, people. Achievable means, is it conceivable that it could be done? Okay, because we don't do realistic. Realistic is for wusses. Okay, I want to be unrealistic. Realistic is you can make $100,000 a year. Okay, I want to get unrealistic. I want to make that a month. Is it doable? Yeah, Brad did it. Yeah, there's a couple people on the phone have done it, or on the call have done that in a month. Shit, I did it a few months. So I don't want to be realistic. I want it to know it's achievable. Is it doable? Yep, it is. Is it relevant? It's going to be real relevant to me. And when do I need to do it? Every single month. But for the year, I have a year goal. Okay, so the 3x3, you're going to set yearly goals. 3 big, hairy, audacious goals, something that makes you a little bit nauseous. If you're like, yep, I can do that, 5,000 a month. Is 5,000 a month going to make you happy, make you excited, going to make you get out of bed, going to make you work that schedule, make you going to buy those leads when you're like, oh, I could go to dinner instead? Is it going to do that? Is 5,000 a month going to do that for you? No. $5,000 a month, once you have, something that, bounces back, once you buy your leads, once you pay the tax man, once you pay your insurance, what's 5,000 going to do? Nothing. So if it's not something that gets you excited and makes you a little nervous, is it really a goal worth being one of your 3 big yearly goals? Maybe not. So I'm going to show you what I put down as my goals, not to say these should be your goals at all. And partially it's to give you an example, and partially because I had the opportunity, I thought I could have all you guys as my accountability partners. So I'm going to tell you what my goals are. So my goals for the year, my 3 big goals for the year are 100,000 in monthly deposit, not IP, but actually deposit into my account. I want to hit double Hall of Fame. So that's going to be in personal production and annuity production, and 5 team members hitting Hall of Fame to help 5 people on my team hit Hall of Fame. Now, do I know if that's going to happen? I don't know, but I know it's going to happen. Okay. So, I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to help make that happen. So these are my big goals. When I say them, you notice I'm even stuttering a little bit talking about them because make me a little nervous. Not because I don't think it can happen, because I don't really know how it's going to happen yet. But you've got to be in a place where you have goals that are a little bit bigger. Because if I knew exactly how to do this 100% with certainty, then the goal's not big enough. Because that means I can just be the old me to accomplish it. I don't have to stretch in any new way. So I want to always be stretching and always getting something, accomplishing something bigger. So these are a little bit big, a little bit scary, but that's a good thing because I know that it's possible because I know many people who've done these things. I know that Shadi, Juan, Steve Giordano, and Brad are doing this one. I know that Dean on this call did this one. And I know that Frank did this one. Okay. So I know people have done it. I know it's real, it's realistic. It's achievable. Okay. So I actually gave my year a theme because I like having a theme, make it fun. So I call this 24 karat 2024. So in my mind, this is how to have a golden 24 is to do this. So have fun with your goals, make it clear. And this picture, this exact thing is going to be up on my wall after today. I have a wall right next to my desk where I can see my goals all the time. So you've got your 3 big goals for the year. These are your 3 big goals, okay? Now you need to set 3 quarterly goals. This is what you're going to accomplish in Q1, January, February, March. What are you going to accomplish in Q1? It needs to ladder to the big goals. It's not just some random shit that you want to do, because that's, again, not alignment. So we want to align. So for myself, I'm starting off in Q1 is, okay, to get to 100,000 in deposits, I need to clearly and consistently and confidently hit 100,000 in IP each month. I want to submit 500K in annuity each month, and I need to have 1 team member that's going to hit 40K in IP. So I need to help at least 1 person. So at least 1 team member hit 40K in IP. And I see 3 people on the call today. Let's do it this month in January. So this is the goal. So I want to have these 3 as my quarterly goal. They ladder up to those 3 big yearly goals. So when I do these, I believe if I do this consistently each month for the quarter, that I'm going to hit that goal. Now notice with this, it's for the quarterly goal, and I put 100,000 IP each month because maybe one of those months is a little short and I have to work a little harder or do something a little differently. Okay, so this is your quarterly goals. Then you want to select 3 weekly deliverables that you believe if you do those 3 things every single week, then you have a very high likelihood of the quarterly goals happening. So for myself, my weekly deliverables are 35K in weekly submit, 5 new team members, and for me to hit 100% on my weekly habits that I've set up for myself. We'll talk about that in a second. So I have been hitting 25K in weekly submit pretty regularly, and that's been laddering up to about 100,000 in IP with annuity money. But I have bigger goals. I want 100,000 in deposits, not just in IP. So that's why I'm putting the 35K. I raised it up. Will it be enough? We'll see. So, and I don't put any of these numbers to be like, this is what yours should be. This is just where I'm thinking, where I am. Yours need to be yours. It needs to make you feel slightly uncomfortable. You feel a little like, oh my goodness, for you. If you were to do this and it made you feel like, holy, then that's not going to work because then you're not going to believe it and you're not going to, go for it. So it's got to be your numbers. So let me do a quick rewind and we're going to pause for a second after that. So just a quick recap. You have your 3 weekly deliverables, okay? Your 3 weekly deliverables. This is what you have to do each week. Think of it this way. Does anybody here still have their W-2 job? Has anybody here ever had a W-2 job? Thank you. You and your boss said, do these 3 things or you're fired. Did you do those 3 things? Right? You do the 3 things. That's what your weekly deliverables are. These are the three things that your boss is going to ask you every Friday. Did you do the three things? Did you do your weekly deliverables? Here's the only difference. You're your boss. Okay. So you're your boss. You need to look yourself in the mirror and go, did you deliver the three things you need to do, which is the whole purpose of you working here? That's your weekly deliverables. They need to ladder up to, you never go back, but Dean, you are your own boss now. So you get to tell yourself, did you do your shit, Dean? So you know how it goes. But quarterly, so does it ladder up to the quarterly? So your 3 weekly deliverables, which is what you're in control of this week, is going to then go to your quarterly, which is going to go to your yearly. Okay. And you guys all know the point I asked about the job is not to say you should have a job, because like, no, it's that you're your own boss. You have to hold yourself accountable to those things. So you've got your weekly deliverables that ladder up to your quarterly goals that ladder to your yearly goal. How do you make sure the weekly deliverables happen? That is going to be by doing those habits on a daily basis. So every day I have something that it's called the Miracle Morning. If you don't know what it is, it's a book, read it. It's great. So Miracle Morning, my schedule is locked tight. So right now I've just been in this mode of I just work all the time. I just work all the time, all the time. But we all know that's total BS. Nobody works all the time, but it felt like that. So I decided, well, let's actually quantify it. So have a set schedule. And I've gotten away with it in my mind of not having a set schedule. I know a lot of people, when they don't have a set schedule, they think they're working all the time, but they're really working 20 hours a week. For me, I'm working from 8 in the morning till 10, 11 at night because I'm calling on West Coast, and I'm just feeling kind of scattered. So it's like, no, let's schedule this joint out. Exactly. Schedule the workout. That's why it's not happening. Schedule everything on a weekly, monthly basis. Automate your leads. Okay, so my leads are automated, but I need to make sure that I'm checking in every week and every month. What's coming in? Where should I be focusing most? And one that I need to, build up more, add more funds to this one, decrease to another one, to have a pulse on that on a weekly and monthly basis, but it has to be automated for me to hit those numbers. It's impossible. Nobody's hitting Hall of Fame by going into the system and ILC and buying leads every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Stop it. That's not happening. You have to automate it. And then I've got a bunch of accountability stuff. Okay, so bringing it all together. Each day you do your daily habits. Okay, every day you do your daily habits that lead up to your weekly deliverables. Those deliverables, you want to check in each month to make sure it's laddering up and it's tracking towards your quarterly goals. And then each month you need to gut check yourself and say, is this aligning to my quarterly, and is this quarterly aligning to my yearly? So am I on track? All this is about, am I on track? Did I do all my stuff I got to do daily that's going to make sure I hit my weekly? Each week, am I going to hit my month, which is going to help me hit the quarter? And each quarter, is this going to help me hit my yearly goals? So it's just managing. It's almost like, when you had the W-2, you had your weekly, meeting or one-on-one or check-in with your boss. You're just doing it with yourself. Okay. So I'm going to pause there and ask, does anybody have any questions or anything that's coming up for them about how to set their goals, how to set, big chunky goals for themselves? I see one thing, right? Devin saying, how do I automate my lead flow? How much ideally do you think I should have weekly for that? Okay, so here's what I can tell you about goals or your leads. Hold on a sec. Okay. Um, I'm not sharing anymore. I see text coming up. I'm like, ooh. You've all been there, right? So your lead spend, the number I like to use is 10 to 20% of your revenue goal. So if you're trying to do $20,000 a month, actually let's take it one step back. How much, and Devin, you put the question, you get to come off mute. So Devin, how much do you want to make a month?
Ideally, I want to produce about 20 to 30,000 going into 2024.
How much do you want to put in your checking account that you get to spend for all of your bills, your life, and your fun?
Out of like the 20, 30,000 production, I'd like to at least have, 15,000 on a monthly basis.
Okay, so 15,000, because if you say two numbers, I will always pick the higher one. So $15,000. So you want 15,000 in your pocket. That means you need to not produce 20 to 30,000. You need to produce 30. Now, if I'm contradicting anything, I'm speaking in generality. So I'm not trying to contradict anybody who's coaching you, but just kind of give you my thought process. So if you need to do 15, if you want 15,000 in your pocket, then when you produce 30,000, that means you've got plenty of money for leads, got plenty of money for any chargebacks that could occur. You got plenty of money if you need to hire someone to help you out. It's 30,000, you may, you got plenty of money for all the things. Will it be 50%? I don't know, it might be less, but 50% you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good with 15%. So at 30,000 in production, know that 3 to 6K will be spent on leads. So that means if it's 3 to 6K, you have to decide, are you that good that it's going to be 10%, or might it be 20%? So if it's 20%, that's 6,000. So if it's 6,000, that's 1,500 a week. So that's going to tell you something right now about your lead spend. So it need to be 1,500 a week if you're going to do 30,000. Now, would I do that tomorrow? Maybe not. Maybe work with, your mentor or your person you kind of talk to in more detail about these things, about maybe leveling up to that place, building up to that place, because I don't know what your production is right now. But that's how I like to think about those numbers. 10 to 20%, you're going to divide by 4 in the week. And then as far as automation, you can automate an ILC, or you can automate through CRM Center. So if you're in CRM Center, you can get final expense leads. They're automated. They just come in real time. In ILC, you can set up automation in there as well, basically where it's just coming to you automatically, a chunk of leads. And you just call the leads that make the most sense for you to call. You can automate a couple different things in there. Anybody else have any questions about setting their goal?
Nah, Jesse, real quick, just wanted to chime in. I think this is phenomenal, man. And I think just kind of going into the new year, this will definitely help a lot of us get on track. The biggest piece that I see here, Jesse, is the accountability aspect, because I've definitely done a lot of stuff in the past, work with accountability group, and it just does something to you when you know that, somebody's holding you accountable, right? Unfortunately, this is not a job, right? We're independent business owners. So we have that liberty to say, you know what, today I don't feel like working. You know what I mean? But when you are in an accountability group and somebody, hey, Jesse, did you knock out your goal for this week? You can't come up with a lame excuse, right? Because it's like your boss holding you accountable. So I feel like for those who want to kind of move forward with this, which I'm definitely on board, I already have my goal set up and everything. We should probably put together a group. I don't know where it's going to be, just specifically with people who actually have a written goal, following the steps that you outlined, not people who want to have a goal, right? So it's going to be for people who are really just serious about getting it in. And every week we're checking in. Hey, did you knock it out? And maybe even have some consequences. Like if you don't, you know what I mean? Like accomplish your goal. And I think that'll definitely serve as a great motivator for a lot of us to, have a no excuse mentality going into 2024.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could definitely do that on WhatsApp or in Discord, because I think we're all in Discord. So you think it should probably be a system we're already using, but maybe in Discord there's a channel for that. Why don't we talk through that? I don't know, Jamie, you might have some ideas, or Mike, but I think that's a great idea, Depot. 2024 accountability group. And also in there, I think it's important for everybody to, be very clear. How serious are you about accomplishing the goal? Because we all kick off the year. It's like the gym in January, right? We all kick off the year with amazing, amazing hopes, wishes, dreams, desires. But I think part of the reason that people don't succeed when they go to the gym is they bought the membership, they paid the fee, and they think that's what they needed to do. When in reality, they didn't set the schedule, they didn't have the automations or the things set up for themselves. The parallel to leads would be they didn't get a trainer, they didn't schedule daycare, they didn't do any of the other things. They just bought the membership and thought it was going to work. But they didn't change their work schedule. They didn't say to the boss, can I leave an hour early? They didn't, rearrange things. They didn't do anything else except buy the membership and show up on the first 3 days. So it's about doing all of those pieces. I agree. I love it, Depot.
And then
Um,
look, I'm gonna can you hear? Look,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
there you go.
the one of the main accountability partners is heavy spend on leads. Like if you have a recurring lead spend, there's no way you're not going to go to work. What are you going to, like there's no way. Like that is my biggest accountability. Like, but like you said, Jess, a $10 Planet Fitness membership is meant for that. Okay. So their target market are people who do not go to the gym. It's $10 a month. And even if you go once and you get a pizza, guess what? You made even. Now, in the event you do buy a personal trainer, if you don't show up, you're still getting charged for that session. Guess what? People are going to start showing up. That is going to be the accountability as it costs me. And so I think that a recurring lead spend is definitely, I know with me, 100%. It's like, dude, if I'm spending whatever amount weekly, I'm working. Like, there's no way I'm not going to go. It's not going to happen. So I think that is the second. Accountability groups are phenomenal, man. But I think also having that recurring lead spend and having it to where like you feel that thing if you miss out, I think that's super important.
Well, it's interesting, Nick, because what you're mentioning about that, the lead spend, the recurring lead spend is really another accountability group. It's literally, it's accountability your pocket. So if it's just guess what else? Your mortgage is an accountability partner for getting your ass to work. Like having to spend money is accountability. And I think we fall back all the time on that because what can we cut, what can we trim versus how much more can we do to succeed? And if you knew it's coming out and you knew that those leads are coming in and you're like, okay, all I got to do is call them, just call them, then you will call them because it's going to come out. What's going to happen next week? You're going to have another 100. Oh crap. At 100 these next week, I got another 100. Oh my gosh, I got to call these people. I got to get on the phone. So makes total sense. Total sense. Okay, there was
Jesse,
one. Yeah.
I think you guys should absolutely, or we all should have an accountability group. I do think we need to have requirements to join the group because here's what I do know. People always look for excuses to pretend they're working. And the only time you're working in this industry is when you're setting appointments or selling. That's it. So I love trainings. This is important to be on. But if you're not going to take the information you learn here, incorporate it, and move forward, you're wasting everybody's time. So all that's fantastic ideas. So we should come up with a list of things that you must be doing in order to join the accountability group. Because at the end of the day, we've been screaming leads that are reoccurring, right? Reoccurring lead orders is the reason why most of the people that are super successful are where they are. So I love that. Two things. We're going to change it from 66 to 77 days because I don't like 66. The numbers,
I'm down with that.
numbers are whack. Two, you said something earlier, futzing around, and I about fell out of my chair. Never heard that word, but I kind of like it. It might be my new favorite word. So I'm gonna let you keep going. This is really good. And guys, let's if you have questions, can we post them in the chat so we don't because this thing is can run for 2 hours if we let it get out of hand. So anybody that has any questions, can we just post them in the chat so Jesse can roll through this?
Okay.
You're good, good.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to think, see what here. Okay. So I'm just trying to read in the chat if there's anything else. Yeah, I mean, I think so the last comment I'm just commenting on because it was interesting. What held you back in 2003, set clear, proven, and vetted goals on how to tackle those issues for success. So I think you got to focus on what's going to make sense for you. I think I think sometimes we make it really complex. We make goals, um, we make goals super hard on ourselves because we look at like all these reasons we didn't. But don't we know? Don't we know why we didn't succeed? Don't we like actually know? It's kind of like why we're so good at giving other people advice. I am the best advice giver. I don't know, Angela, you can put a hand up because I know we can't comment about, but I'm really good at giving advice. You've called me sometimes and I am so good at giving advice. Now I'm doing the exact same thing myself. So when you call me and you're saying this thing, I got this thing, the reason I'm so good at giving advice is because I already know because I'm already dealing with it myself. but that's the reason I can give the advice, because I already know what to do. Does that mean I'm doing it? Maybe. So I think a lot of times we get so stuck in what's going on with ourselves and like figuring it out to plan for the future, to figure out how to, no, just do what you already know. Script, schedule, leads. If you don't have enough appointments, your schedule sucks or your script is bad. If you aren't closing enough, your script isn't good. If you don't have enough money, you don't have enough people you're calling. It's one of those things. It's like the trifecta. Now, could it be something else? Maybe, but that just takes little tweaks. Most of the time, it's you're fumbling over what you're saying, you don't have enough people to call, or you're not working enough. Or when you're working, you're not spending enough time. You know, like there's some derivative thereof. Because when we say schedule, we didn't say 40 hours. We said schedule, meaning it's tight. Meaning during the 5 hours you work that day, if you're part-time, you're doing what Amaka does, selling $140 in a year. You're not selling $3 because you were checking up on stuff. Okay, new advice to new agents who are licensed this month. Get it? So the advice I would give to a new agent is perfect your script, be solid on your schedule, make sure you have leads that are going to deliver the numbers you want. So if you are buying 5% of your dreamed money in leads, that's not going to work. Do you think Steve Giordano, who's #1 in the company, who's doing like $1.5 million, do you think he's spending 500 a week? Do you think he's spending 10%? You think he's spending 20%? He might be spending more to scale like that, but he's definitely not spending 5% or 2%. Okay. What else? Anything else? Anything else? 10K a month is his lead spend. So there you go. Okay. Any other questions you guys have? Can you chime in, Dean? I don't have the ability to unmute. Sorry. Sorry, I don't have it. I think it's already set. Because I'm not the leader. What else? Now that makes sense why 75 days is hard. I'm just looking back at some of the questions. Yes, Angela, I know. I'm blaming mine on COVID. Angela and I both did that. We did so good like the first 2 weeks, and then it got really, really rough. And then I got COVID and I get back into it. That's such a BS excuse. And when I say BS, I don't mean real BS. I mean belief system. Most of the time when you get stuck, it's total BS, meaning it's a belief system. You've created some belief in your mind about what reality is, and that's not reality because there's somebody else who did it. All we have, the cool thing, right? You had a car accident, but like, why didn't we get back three days afterwards, right? You know, like it's like there's always something, but we always know what it is. So sometimes I think, guys, it really is just keep it simple, keep it simple. Okay. Any other questions? Dean, I wish I could. Can you put it in the chat, Dean? Because I can't, I'm just trying to unmute. I can't unmute you. Anything else? Are we going to wrap? Okay, guys. Oh. I don't know how to do it, Dean. I can't do it. I'm trying to, I don't have the button for me. Sorry, bro. Okay. Anything else, guys? Okay, guys. I wish you the best of luck and the happiest of New Year's. And so, again, set your goals. We'll put it in the thread or wherever it is. We will have what those kind of steps are to be in the accountability group. I think that's a great point Frank made, that it should be something that we actually have to do versus I want to reach goals. Yeah, because everybody wants to reach goals, but like, let's have some accountabilities for reaching that. So it was great speaking to you guys today. I'll talk to you soon. Looking forward to joining you guys in this accountability group coming in 2024. Let's make it a 24 karat 24. Bye, y'all.